I think both are true. I think marriage can be blissful, but it's still a life of work. The bliss of marriage is not something that happens, when I reach to the top of the mountain, I come to the top of Mount Everest, and then we both sit down, we say, okay, now starts the bliss. It's bliss throughout the work. Every time we uncover a deeper layer in ourselves and we get closer to our own soul, we find our own inner bliss. And then naturally, we want to share it with somebody else. I think we make a mistake thinking that another person could fill our void and another person can make us happy. It doesn't work that way. Nobody in the world can make me happy, really happy. Nobody in the world can make me blissful. Not my wife, not my mother, not my sister, not my brother, not my friend, not my fan club. They can make me feel good for a few minutes. They can entertain me for a little while. They can help me fill a void in a very external way. The only source of filling my void and you filling your void and everybody filling their void is their own soul. It's our own relationship with God. It's because every soul at its core is whole, it's perfect. Every soul at its core is divine, impeccable, flawless. Every soul is powerful and confident and blissful. The psalmist says about God that confidence and joy is in his space. How do you know you're in the space of the divine? When you're filled with confidence and you're filled with joy. But yet, in life, we get wounded, and often different parts of us eclipse our true beauty and holiness and core. So when we get married, it's not like the other person is now going to make me happy and blissful. That bliss must come from within. But when I do open myself up to my own inner soul, relationships are the greatest gift. Love is the DNA of the soul. The soul by its nature is expansive. It wants to embrace. It wants to love. It wants to share. It wants to give, and it wants to receive. So as we do the work, we experience more and more the closeness that we're capable of. What happens so often in life is because so many of us were wounded at a very young age, we close up. We close our hearts because we don't want to be wounded again. So we protect ourselves. We put on bulletproof vests when we don't let anybody in. We get triggered very fast and we distance ourselves from other people. And as I said, it's especially the marriage partners who will trigger our insecurities in the profoundest way because they're so close to us, because they're so dangerous, quote unquote. But the more I can have the courage, we can have the courage to be able to go back to our inner core that is unscathed, untainted, untarnished, unblemished. Over there is an infinite reservoir of love, of confidence. But it's daily work. It's work of the choice. Which part of me am I going to live with? Will I be aligned with my truest divine soul? Or will I become distracted and be lured in to all of my bubbles and my insecurities and my wounds? And I will go down the different rabbit holes of distractions and coping mechanisms, which are really survival skills. So we all have coping mechanisms. And in our marriage, our coping mechanisms flare up. And sometimes for years, the husband is learned how to work with his coping mechanisms to deal with his wife, and the wife is functioning with her coping mechanism to deal with the husband, but they can't really connect. So, they say, when a person is in danger, right, there's different responses. They call it fight or flight or freeze or fawn. So fight is aggression. Flight is I avoid confrontation. Freeze is I just freeze. I play dead. I go offline. I'm emotionally numb and frozen. It's dorsal state. And fawn is I become a people's pleaser. But all four are coping mechanisms because my system feels very threatened by this situation and I have to run into these places. So the husband does it, the wife does it, and then they're talking to each other, they're communicating to each other from that place of insecurity. The greatest gift that happens in a marriage is when a husband and a wife can identify what their own traumas are and stop responding only from a place of a coping mechanism. They can identify the coping mechanism. They could say, this is what my coping mechanism wants to do now. But I want to choose to connect to you and to myself from a soulful place. And over there can be very real connection.